My whole goal was to make sure we had the right people in the right seats and the right processes, which is one of the main driving reasons we did this course. Have a lot more time. I'd take myself down from 80-hour weeks down to 40-hour weeks in the last 2 years. But I wanted to move from 40-hour weeks to 10-hour weeks.
Welcome to the Construction Leading Edge podcast from constructionleadingedge.com. My name is Todd Dawalt, spelled D-A-W-A-L-T. I'm your host. And here at Construction Leading Edge, we are all about helping construction business owners have more freedom, more impact, and more wealth by systematizing your construction business. Think self-managing company, a business that runs without you. Kris Miller is the president of KLM Construction, and they do commercial, multifamily, and residential construction in the Denver, Colorado area. Recently, Kris sat down with Leyah Hostetter, who is our director of customer success here. And here's what Kris shared in this interview you're about to hear. There was a light bulb moment that Kris had about a simple communication strategy that eliminates a lot of questions from customers. You may want to jump on that strategy. There's the issue that Kris has with the American work mentality and what he prefers instead. Kris talks about some problems that he had with business coaches that he's dealt with in the past. Kris talks about the importance of getting the right people in the right seats, especially for a large team like he has. What nailing the handoff did for Kris and his partners and his team. Kris talks about why he wanted to move from 40 hours a week to an 8-hour work week and how things are going with him on that, and why Kris joined our Systematize Your Construction Business program and what's different for him and his team as a result. So without further ado, let's get to this interview with Kris Miller, president of KLM Construction. Enjoy.
All right, Kris, thank you for joining me today. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
My name's Kris Miller. Myself and two partners have a construction company in Denver, Colorado. We started out doing custom residential homes, and then we branched into commercial tenant improvement work, medical work, bars and restaurants, and a lot of high-rise tenant improvement work. That's we're about 12 years old now, and we actually do quite a bit of multifamily as well. So, but a little bit of touch everything.
So you just finished wrapping up the SYCB program a few weeks ago. Can you take us back to before you started this program? And what was life like for you in the business before the program?
Some of the main problems were transitioning from pre-construction to construction, I guess, was one of our hurdles that we knew existed, but maybe we didn't know the extent where it was deficient. Mm-hmm. So we would muddle through, we would go through pre-construction and we would get things done. Then we would hand the project off, and I guess to your guys' point, we would have enough to start. So, and then we would get a lot of our answers during construction, and then we thought, and that was just the way of life and the way of business. The biggest thing for us now is I don't think we were in a terrible place, but we've seen the light, I guess, now in the way things should be done.
Yeah.
Versus we thought. We thought we were doing okay, but we knew we had hiccups, and we wanted to, streamline the process, and that's what we feel like we are coming out. We haven't implemented every single thing that we've learned in the course, and we plan to do so within the next. We started the course January 1. We plan to, by the end of this year, to have everything implemented. We didn't want to roll everything out at once. We kind of want to piecemeal the sections together to make them more adaptable and get them adapted by our team, I should say, as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a much better process than what we were doing. We look forward to that. The stuff we've implemented already is working quite well. And it's a lot of information to process and a lot of things to change over. And it's not all going to happen overnight, but we're on the right track.
There's so many things in there that I appreciate that you said, Kris. And one of them, you recognize that there was probably a gap between your pre-construction and your construction. And you thought that, well, this is just the way that it is. A lot of our clients, a lot of us in construction think that, there's a bit of a culture of chaos, if you will, or frustration in construction. And I think that's just the way it is. But what you're saying is you had like this light bulb moment in the program where you're like, wow, it doesn't have to be like that. It can run a lot smoother than what we've been doing.
And funnily enough, I had this house built for us. I'm in Australia right now, 3 years ago. And I met with my builder yesterday just to get a few little things fixed. He's a really nice guy, and he is in the same. I can see the lights in the back of his head doing exactly what my head used to do, which is just dart left and right constantly. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Blah, blah, blah. So I actually thought yesterday, I was like, oh, I should tell you about this course. and right before our meeting this morning, I was like, oh, I'm going to email Leyah about this because I think he could benefit. He's a bit smaller builder than us, but I think he could benefit from some of the systems that go down in here. So that might be a good candidate for your program.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty typical place to be in that, I mentioned frustration and chaos. And I think that's where a lot of builders, a lot of contractors just think this is just what it is, but there's another way. Right. And so I'm curious, I know you're not as far along as you want to be. You said by the end of this year, hopefully everything is implemented, but how is life different for you now and for your team now that you've started implementing some of these things?
Laying out the groundwork on the latest projects that are kind of rolling off to get started. We're like, okay, we need to get all of this information, X, Y, Z, A to Z, done and dialed in before we get going. And this is going to solve, this problem. The other thing that we've done, we implemented pretty much one of the very first things we implemented straight away was a weekly report to all of our customers, which was a light bulb. That was, to use your terminology, a light bulb moment throughout the course where myself and my partner Mike are sitting in the course going, that is such a simple fact of something to do. Are we idiots? Why didn't we think of that? Reconstruction, we solve problems all day long. And that was a very simple one that has worked out really well. So we have one of our team members that touches base with our project manager or a superintendent every week, gets an update on where their project is, does the dictation, does the notes, and then compiles the email and sends it off on behalf of that project manager and CCs him on it and some of the executive team so that they know it's been done. And then that eliminates a lot of questions from customers throughout the week. Basically, what happened this week and what's happening next week? Where are we in a timeline? Where are we in the schedule of construction? So we found that was a big thing that we're like, oh, well, if this is the rest, and I think that came on pretty early on in the course, maybe like week 1 or 2. And we're like, oh, well, if we keep getting little nuggets of information like this, even if this whole program doesn't work, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think communication tends to be one of the main things that either can create a really great experience with your customers or it can kill it. And it's such a simple thing, but you've obviously seen some great benefit of implementing that part of it alone.
I did have concerns at the beginning, and I think you were probably the brunt of my main concern at the very start, where I was like, I've approached business coaches and so forth in the past, and the information they're doing isn't construction related. So it's not targeted towards construction companies and it's not beneficial. So when you use a lot of similar keywords and stuff like that, but as you well know, your program isn't that. It's not a business coach coming in telling you the fundamentals of, small business and how to do this and how to do that. And it's a different program. It's a construction-based program for people that need help systemizing their business. And that's what it's provided. So, yeah.
Hey, it's Todd here. Let me ask you a question. Do you own your construction business or do you feel like it owns you? Are you spending too much of your time in day-to-day firefighting? Maybe it feels like Groundhog Day where you're just dealing with the same issues day after day after day. You feel like you're always behind. Maybe you feel like you wake up in the morning, you're 2 or 3 hours behind, like you can never get caught up no matter how many hours you put in. Maybe you feel like you're stuck. Think about it. Maybe you started your business to achieve something, to have more freedom, to make more money, but maybe it feels like a trap right now. When it comes to taking time off, taking a vacation, it's kind of a joke because you can't really get away from the business. It's this constant pressure, right? And it's building, it's getting worse, or it hasn't changed in the past few years, and it's wearing you down. So if that's you, I get it. Look, I've been there. over the past 25 years, I've owned a construction business. I've scaled a construction business up to $11 million in revenue and grew it up to 50 employees. And I also managed over $300 million worth of projects. And over the course of my career, I've worked with some really large contractors, companies doing hundreds of millions, even $1 billion in revenue a year. And on those projects, I figured out that there's a secret phase of every project that the big companies obsess over. And it's where the real profits are made or lost. It's where the schedules are made or lost. And nobody's telling small business owners about it, especially in the residential space. We've created this unique framework to tap into that secret phase. And over the past several years, we've been teaching it to hundreds of construction business owners. And it's been life-changing for a lot of the guys. And you may have heard some of them on the podcast talk about how things are different for them. So this has worked for hundreds of our clients. And I want to share this framework with you in a completely free online training where I'm going to break down the real root cause of why you're stuck in constant firefighting mode. There's a trap that you're likely stuck in. We'll also show you how CEOs of big companies think about scaling a construction business. And I'll also teach you all about that framework so you can tap into that secret phase of every project where profits are made or lost. So if you want to get your hands on that free training, go to constructionleadingedge.com/scale. That's constructionleadingedge.com/SCALE.
So I know you've talked about a few different parts in the program, but was there one particular piece that we introduced to you or that we shared with you that you and your team were like, wow, this is going to change everything for us?
Yeah, I think it was the flow chart.
The accountability chart?
Yeah, exactly. The accountability chart was one of them. When we stuck the processes up on the whiteboard and with the post-it notes. So the accountability chart is one, and finding the right and putting the right people in the right, seats. I think that's huge. And I think we're still working through that part, to be honest. I think we're still trying to figure out if we have, I know we have one person that's, 100% in the right seat, and our project superintendents are in the right seats, but we're trying to fill other voids that we're like, I don't know if this person is right for that particular role. So that was good, but nailing the handoff with the, how you want to do business and how you want to see process move forward in the future was a little bit of a light bulb for us, for sure. Like, but then also with that, what comes with that is, okay, it's all very well and good to put all these post-it notes up there and do this. This is how you want it to flow from initial customer contact to, hey, handing it off to the superintendent or the project manager. But along with that, each little piece of paper represents how a lot of work. That was also a daunting time. We're like, okay, this is great. This is how we want it to flow. This is how we want it to work. But you can't make it happen overnight.
No, we can't. And I'm happy you brought that up, actually, Kris, because we give you a lot of information and it's in a short amount of time, but it will take some time to turn a ship, right? To make it go in a different direction.
You probably turn that ship pretty quickly. If you're trying to do it over, a vast, maybe a couple of different divisions or a larger employee base, then it's going to take a little bit more time, I feel.
Yeah, it will. But that, I think, is it's wise of you and your team to recognize that it will take time to implement it, but that where you're going to be in a year from now is going to be significantly different from where you were last year. It's all that progress, really. How is life different for you now? And is there anything else about the program that you'd like to share in general?
My whole goal of this program was to remove myself from the business as much as possible, from the day-to-day operations of the company, and make sure we had the right people in the right seats and the right processes. And we've been trying to do this for a couple of years, and we always run into roadblocks in certain areas, which is one of the main driving reasons we did this course. So main driving reasons for me, have a lot more time. I take myself down from 80-hour weeks down to basically 40-hour weeks in the last 2 years. But I wanted to move from 40-hour weeks to basically 10-hour weeks. So what has changed? I've been trying to implement that for a while. I've got down there, but I keep running into roadblocks. So I think by the end of this year, we'll be in a good place where I will be at that 10-hour week mark and be able to stay there versus, hey, I could do it for a couple of months, which I've been doing for a few years. But then I come back to a pretty big plate. But what I've noticed since we've been doing this, so this is the first extended trip I've taken since the course has been completed. And my level of involvement, shall we say, in day-to-day operations is significantly less than before. So that's good.
That is good.
So,
Fantastic. I love that. Wow. From a couple of years ago of 80-hour weeks down to 10-hour weeks at the end of this year. That's a pretty big change.
I've never really bought into the whole American mentality of work. We can go and play a little bit, and I like to play, and work a little bit. I've worked a lot for a long time, and now I'm back. I'm like, okay, I've done that. I'm back to my roots. I need to play more.
I agree with that. I'm on board with that one too.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, that's great, Kris. Thank you so much for sharing that. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we finish up?
Thanks for a good course, and I think it's beneficial to somebody who wants to transform their chaotic construction company into something a little bit more stable and manageable. It's not as hectic.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
All right, no problem.
It's Todd here. One last thing. Before you go, let me ask you something. Do you find yourself constantly putting out fires that never should have started in the first place? Are you working 50, 60, 70 hours a week, but you just feel like you're barely keeping your head above water? Maybe you're spending too much of your time in low-level firefighting type activities. Maybe every problem lands in your lap and you're thinking, how can I possibly keep up with all of this chaos, much less grow this thing? Or maybe you're thinking, why would I want to grow this business? So if you're a construction business owner and you feel trapped in your business, feel like it's keeping you from being present with your family, maybe you even feel like your business is driving a wedge between you and your spouse or you and your family, and you can't take a real vacation, there's constant chaos, then let me tell you, there's a way out, all right? My team has helped hundreds of construction business owners solve those exact problems. And the first step that all of our clients took was to schedule a call with my team. So I want to invite you to schedule a call with my team. And on that call, you're going to get crystal clear on three things. Number one, the real root cause of some of the biggest problems in your business. Number two, your goals and outcomes that you want to achieve. Number three, you'll have a clear roadmap that you can follow to turn those goals and outcomes into reality. All right. So for a lot of the people who've had these calls, it's been the best hour they've spent working on their business in a long, long time, maybe ever. So here's the deal. This year is going to be over before you know it. So my question for you is, are you going to have another year of almosts? Are you going to have another year of almost hitting your goals, almost making changes, almost getting there? Or is it going to be another year maybe going backward, going in the wrong direction? Here's the deal. If you want different results, you need to take different actions, okay? You need to make some different decisions. This stuff is not going to randomly happen. Your business is not going to magically fix itself. It's going to get worse on its own, okay? So if you want different results, you've got to make some different decisions. You've got to take some different actions. So if that's you, if you want to take some different actions, you want some help, then book a call with my team by going to constructionleadingedge.com/apply. Don't wait till it's too late. All right. Unfortunately, we occasionally talk to people and we figure out it's too late for us to help. So if you know you need to make some changes in your business, maybe you're a little scared, you're not sure how it's going to work out, but you know you need to make some changes, you've got to do something different, then go schedule your call if you're a construction business owner by going to constructionleadingedge.com/apply. APPLY, and book your call. We'll talk soon.